Hello everybody and welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Jen Zoidberg. Over the last month, I've been counting down what I consider to be the 100 best Amiga games ever, and now we've reached the end. After going through the 90 previous titles, it's time to reveal my top 10. I started this process about 4 months ago with a shortlist of just over 200 titles, before whittling it down to the final 100. Every single game that is listed is one that I would highly recommend that you play. According to the Lemon Amiga website, there are over 5,000 games that have been released for the Commodore Amiga, whether that's the A500, A1200 or CD32. So that means that this top 100 constitutes just 2% of all the games that were available. So what are the 10 games that I consider to be the best of the best? The absolute pinnacle of what the Amiga has to offer. As always, I don't expect you to agree with my choices. This is merely my opinion and just a bit of fun. There are definitely going to be games in this top 10 that you probably don't like, and that's fine. Please let me know what your top 10 is in the comments. I have been keeping a list of all the games that viewers have posted in the comments of the previous 3 episodes of this top 100, so you can probably expect a few live streams of those in the coming months. Now though, let's kick off my top 10. Battle Squadron, 1989, Coke.com. If you ever need an example of the importance of music and sound effects together, just try playing Battle Squadron with the music switched off. It's the reason why this game stands head and shoulders above the likes of Banshee and Swiv, both good games with excellent graphics that feel a bit stale due to the lack of in-game tunes to enliven the action. This game is simply the best of its kind on the Amiga, and probably one of my favourite shooters across all systems, arcade included. It's challenging in the right way, has a brilliant selection of weapons and some of the best presentation you'll see on a standard A500. Just check out those cloaked Predator ships. Obviously it helps that the soundtrack is an absolute belter too. Prince of Persia, 1990, Dan Gorlin. I'd like to imagine that most people were blown away the first time they saw Prince of Persia in action. I certainly was. This was one of those rare instances where I blindly loaded a game for the first time, knowing nothing about it beforehand, and then didn't play anything else for the rest of that week. It's not just the brilliant animation that has kept me coming back in all the years since. The level design and the ticking clock make it a game that I find myself wanting to play again from the start on a regular basis. I'm still striving to achieve a perfect run at some point, but I'm yet to manage it. The platforming is an absolute joy, with intermittent sword fights that are as frustrating as they are rewarding. Gods, 1991, The Bitmap Brothers. Gods is probably the game in my top 10 that's going to be the most controversial, but at the end of the day, it's a game that I absolutely love and still play today. It epitomises everything that I expect from a Bitmap Brothers game. Fantastic graphics, amazing sound, and gameplay that rewards repeat play over and over. I'm still discovering things that I never knew were there over 30 years since I first played it. Every time I've mentioned the game previously on this channel, someone has popped up in the comments saying that it was ruined for them because of the frame rate, and I genuinely don't see it. Never have. The reason is probably because I'm too fixated on the gameplay and the gorgeous visuals. Formula 1 Grand Prix, 1991, Jeff Crammond. I've always been a fan of Grand Prix racing, so any game that would allow me to feel that thrill was something that I played. Formula 1 Grand Prix featured full recreations of all 16 real-world circuits from the 1991 calendar, unprecedented at the time, and it's one of the best that I ever played. There's a wealth of driving aids that you can use to make the game as easy or as challenging as you like. I think this was the first game that I ever played that included a racing line. And the hot seat multiplayer was superb, allowing me and my brother to go full race distance as two drivers for a single team. The game's speed remains consistent regardless of the hardware that you're running it on too. I've seen many games ruined by becoming so quick that they are unplayable on more powerful Amigas, but in this game your lap times will always be the same, whether the 3D is smooth or not, and that's a truly exceptional technical achievement.
Power up.
Turrican 2, The Final Fight, 1991, Factor 5. Just like Battle Squadron, the Turrican series and its music go hand in hand, and Turrican 2 is the best example. The soundtrack is possibly the best in Chris Hulsbeck's entire catalogue, and the game itself is a fantastic example of how to do a platform shooter the right way. It took the foundations of the original game and streamlined and polished it to perfection. The game is constantly throwing new ideas at you across the 5 worlds, and that keeps the action fresh. A fully powered up beam is one of the most satisfying weapons to use in a game of this type, and too often I found myself standing in one place for longer than necessary, sweeping it back and forth through waves of enemies. The Chaos Engine, 1993, the Bitmap Brothers. Yes, I have 2 games by the Bitmap Brothers in my top 10. The Chaos Engine will probably have less argument though. This is the highest new entry on my list by virtue of being one of the built-in games on the A500 Mini. If you play it on there though, it's the A1200 version that you get, with its garish colour scheme. You should honestly always stick with the original release, as it looks so much better even with less colours. It is of course the gameplay that means it's so high up the list. The action moves consistently at a breakneck pace, and it rewards players who are paying attention to their surroundings, with a frankly ridiculous amount of secrets hidden around the levels. The soundtrack fits the action perfectly too, adapting to the game as you play. The 6 characters are all different enough to warrant repeat play, and with 15 different combinations available, you'll want to try them all.
Special power. Special power. Layer safe.
Flashback, 1992, Delphine Software. I've honestly lost count of the number of times that I've played Flashback from beginning to end, or the number of systems that I've played it on over the years. 3DO, Super Nintendo, PC, Switch, PS4 and Xbox are just a few of them. You never forget your first though, and the Amiga was my first. The presentation is nothing short of outstanding, and it has a timeless quality that few other games can match. Plot-wise, it steals ideas from the likes of Total Recall, The Running Man and They Live, but it's handled with panache, and the stylish atmospheric visuals still stand up today. This game topped the list last time I made a top 100, but just because it slipped 3 spaces doesn't mean I think any less of it today. IK Plus, 1988, Archie McLean. Out of all the games I ever owned on the Amiga, IK Plus is the disc that came closest to wearing out. It's such an easy to pick up and play fighting game, with simple to understand controls, that it was always loaded up whenever friends came over. Every player is on a level playing field, and the decision to add a third computer-controlled fighter was a stroke of genius. Despite only having a single backdrop, it's a game that's absolutely chock full of nice ideas. The animated title screen that's perfectly in sync with the excellent music, the way your fighter's belt automatically changes colour as you hit certain score milestones, and the many hidden keyboard commands that do everything from changing the design on your shield for the bonus stage to dropping your opponent's trousers. It's all simply brilliant. Sensible World of Soccer, 1994, Sensible Software. I've enjoyed many football games over the years, a few of them on the Amiga even, but I've never loved one more than Sensible World of Soccer, and I don't think anything will ever beat it. Everything that could have been done to improve the original game was, the on-field action is now simply sublime, and the inclusion of a full-blown management side turned it into an exceptional single-player game too. Sensible released yearly updates until 1998, and I would happily buy them each year, and you can even get fully updated teams today thanks to the Amiga community. This one game is the reason that I still own a zipstick joystick to this day, as it never feels right on a joypad, and that's why the Amiga version will always reign supreme over consoles. Rainbow Islands, 1990, Graph Gold. Who saw this coming? My favourite Amiga game of all time doesn't involve cars speeding around corners or shooting at enemies with a powerful gun. Instead, it's a game where you play as a cute former dinosaur with weaponised rainbows. In truth, Rainbow Islands and Sensible World of Soccer swapped places a few times as I compiled the countdown, but they were always going to be my top two. It's a pixel-perfect conversion of arguably the greatest arcade game ever made, and it's the only Amiga game where I put down the joystick and opted for the precision of keyboard controls instead. I bought a version of this game on the Switch last year and was horrified to discover that it no longer had the iconic music, probably due to licensing issues. Rainbow Islands is simply unthinkable without Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's like Outrun without Magical Sound Shower, and that's why the Amiga version will always be my go-to version of the game. Thank you very much for watching this countdown of my 100 best Amiga games ever. Out of all the things I've done on this channel to date, this is probably the project that has taken me the longest to compile, so I'm really glad that so many of you seem to be enjoying it. While you're here, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to show your support. If you have missed any of the previous 3 episodes, the full playlist should be coming up on screen, and don't forget, I also listed my top 100 Spectrum games last year as well. Maybe I'll do a Commodore 64 one in the future, or a Super Nintendo, or maybe something more recent like PS2 or Xbox 360. Let me know what you'd like to see the most in the comments. Also, please tell me what games you think should have been included or not included in this countdown. Or maybe there are games that you think should have been higher up the list. I always love reading your opinions. We have more brand new Amiga videos every Friday for you to enjoy, as well as other retro gaming content on Mondays, starting with a Commodore 64 Best 10 list next week. I hope you can come back and watch. Until then, happy retro gaming everybody. Bye for now.